In my paper, I will briefly talk about the functionalism, and in my video, I will talk about the functionalist perspective on sexuality. And I will separate my video into 6 parts. The first part is about introduction. The functionalism is based on the belief that society is made up of interconnected parts, and I show some examples, and this goes to show how everything affected each other in society. The same thing applies to sexuality. Sexuality affected both the interaction and the perception that people have of each other. Actually, people express their sexuality in different ways, and one of the approaches used is structure functionalism. Another assumption that functionalism makes is that family is the most important aspect of society. The second part is about traditional view of sexuality. The functionalism perspective normally encourages social arrangements that ensure that there is a family preservation, and functionalists believe that in order to strengthen the bond between the spouses, sexual activities had to be between the two only, and it also provided the children with the best environment for socialization. And from the functionalism standpoint, homosexuality is not right because it brings about an imbalance in society. And I show some reasons in here. And let's talk about the modern view of sexuality. People in modern society have become more open-minded, and people are now engaging in casual sex, where in some cases they have the emotion connection and in others there is no emotional connection. And some marriages have gotten legalized in most of the states. And unlike in the past, sexuality is now used for commercial, and I show some example in here, and it has become one of the models of advertisement. I also show some example in here. And let's talk about the impact of the changes. One of the main impacts of these changes is that it has affected the intuitions of marriages. It has resulted in a lot of separation and divorces. And this has also resulted in a lot of single parents. And now let's talk about the sexual stereotyping. There is a lot of sexual stereotyping happening in society. For instance, in most cases, marital rape is normally not criminalized because the woman is seen as man possessed. And the homosexuals have also been on the receiving end of stereotyping. Even to date, when gay marriages have been legalized, there are those people who are opposed to it and they do not want to be associated with them. Now let's talk about some conclusions here, and I think the conclusion and recommendation is important. The topic of sexuality is now something that most people are open to discussing. It's often met by a lot of confusion as well as embarrassment. For instance, most parents are not comfortable discussing the topic of sexuality with their children. It's important for people to understand what sexuality is and the need for it to be studied. It's important for the public to be educated about sexuality because it will stop sexual stereotyping, which will in return stop discrimination towards either of the gender. From the discussing above, the functionalist perspective also needs to change since its view of sexuality is becoming outdated.